He walked towards me with a grin on his face and literally threw himself to the ground. He didn't trip, literally jumped and threw himself. His arm landed really strangely and snapped backwards. Blood-curdling screams were spread across the parking lot while his face had the scariest expression I've ever seen. To this day, it still haunts me. Hey everybody, and welcome back to r/EntitledParents, and oh my goodness, it has been so long since I was here. So don't worry guys, I've got some awesome stories lined up for you, and with that said, I won't waste a single second, and let's get straight into it. EM cuts in front of me in line at the supermarket and tries to steal my groceries afterwards. Her kid snaps arm for a piece of chocolate and EM proceeds to slap me. Let's look at the cast. The EM is the entitled mother, BK is the bratty kid, then there's me, who is of course me, and C, the cashier. It was 2017, right after summer vacation. It was the day after we arrived from my grandmother's hometown. Obviously, like any other year, my mum asked me to go get some groceries. The groceries I buy are always temporary to make one meal or something. I was sent out to get the average stuff like dairy products, cookies, a bit of ingredients, and obviously a Tony's Chocolonely chocolate bar for myself. Keep in mind, these are pretty darn expensive, considering I was only given enough to buy the groceries I was assigned to. I always bring a little extra money just in case. Therefore, I brought a bit of my pocket money, again, just in case. I went to the cashier, and this is where the mayhem began. I got in line, and it was huge. It was as if everyone was restocking their kitchen after vacation. There were a good 20 people in each line, and there were only 3 out of 16 cashiers open. When it was confirmed over the intercom that cashier 4 was opening and in which aisle, I ran like I never ran before. Thanks to my speed and only holding a light basket, I got into the first 5 of the line. Think you could guess who was right behind me? The cashier hasn't shown up yet, and therefore EM thought it was a good idea to cut in front of me. I tried confronting her, but you'll see for yourself. Excuse me, Mom, I was in front of you. I'm sorry, it's just my children are very hungry and we have no food at home. Her cart was insane. It was piled up until my neck and it was filled with loads of microwave pizzas. Usually I would have let it slide because of her problem, but my patience is thinner than graphene. I tried again. Ma'am, I barely have any groceries. Can I please take my place back in line? EM now starting to get frustrated. My answer is still no. You literally took my place in line and now refusing to give it back. You're acting pretty entitled, Mom. I remember those exact words. This absolutely set EM off. Bratty kid was in front of the cart and hadn't said a single word till now, considering he was attached to his kid's tablet thing. I didn't know exactly what it was. By now, the cashier was already checking the first person's groceries. She didn't want to get involved at all and just ignored the conflict. What on earth did you just say? Have your dumb parents never told you to respect your elders? For some reason, she had put emphasis on some words in her sentence to sound more persuading and smart, but it confused me a lot. I loved my parents because they raised me very well, and for this lady to insult them with dumb actually set me off real bad. How did your parents raise you, you jerk? Were they as dumb as you? EM's groceries were getting checked and she was putting them in her plastic bag. What did you say? I don't speak dumb. I internally laughed at how stupid that comeback was, but was still mad. She started making her way to the parking lot, muttering things which I slightly was able to hear. She even called me a filthy N. I had the same skin color as her, so it was pretty confusing. I don't know if this is racist to say, but we were both white, so I was confused. I put my groceries in my plastic bag after paying. I had exactly enough, no change. I just ignored EM while she was telling BK off for bumping into a lady. Bratty kid's eyes sparkled when he saw my chocolate bar. Mommy, mommy! He was tugging her dress, but she was still ignoring him. They were nearly at their car by the looks of it as she started slowing down and I was just walking home. Mommy, give me now! The whole parking lot must have heard that. What do you want? That boy has chocolate. I want. EM looked at me with a suspicious grin and whispered something into Bratty Kid's ear. He walked towards me with a grin on his face and literally threw himself to the ground. Didn't trip, literally jumped and threw himself. His arm landed really strangely and snapped backwards. Blood-curdling screams were spread across the parking lot, while his face had the scariest expression I've ever seen. To this day, it still haunts me. It seems as if every bone in his body broke and his limbs were chopped off. I just stood there traumatized by what just happened. I was so confused. I looked down at my groceries to spare myself from looking at his snapped arm and face and noticed the chocolate wasn't there. No way, the kid didn't just do that for a chocolate. EM also disappeared. I was able to connect the dots and found out their plan. I saw her running back towards BK from behind a car, where she was temporarily hiding. She roasted my parents before for being bad parents, which was really ironic at that exact moment. She just noticed her kid. EM ran towards him while screaming at bystanders to call the police and ambulance like a nuclear bomb just dropped. My ears were squeaking from BK's screams. She ran towards me and yelled in my face, but I couldn't make out her words. She then proceeded to slap me multiple times, which shocked me so much that I just froze and stood there. I heard something about her pressing charges on me. It all happened in a flash, and the police and ambulance show up while I'm restrained by security for questioning. The security guard was as tall as me and wasn't buff, so I could just run, but I was too confused about what had just happened. I was questioned by police and told them everything, including what happened in the supermarket. EM made up the biggest lie I had ever heard. I was told by police she wants to press charges for attempted murder and assault of a minor. I have no idea what her story was, but yet again, I called BS. Jesus Christ emerged from heaven and traveled his way through to my eyes because I saw my way out of this situation. CCTV cameras. I had an internal fiesta and was ready to confront EM and her bratty kid. I told the police there's a CCTV camera that records the parking lot 24/7. That's what I thought at least. EM's face turned tomato red while BK was screaming in pain. EM tried hopping into the ambulance with BK, but the police restrained her. BK's ambulance roared off right after. The police went into the security office and security took a good 30 minutes to find the tape. There were loads of cameras and tapes. Eventually, the officers came out to ask EM to follow them. One of them stays behind and asks me if I want to call anyone, and I politely decline. He then tells me I can press charges with my parents, and I obviously accept. They need to ask my parents if they give me permission, as this is necessary where I live. EM is driven off to the police station, and after I give the officer my info, they grant me permission to leave. I get my groceries from the floor and notice my chocolate bar is missing. Wow. After all that, she still decides to keep it. Immature? Definitely. Hotel? Trivago. My parents eventually agree to press charges. As of the hard evidence, EM got sentenced to 6 months jail time, 200 hours of community service, and a hefty fine of around $3,500. The worst part is, she was restricted from having her child for 1 year. Half the time, she would be in jail though. It was more serious than I thought, as she also proceeded to lie in court and to the police. I was told BK was sent to temporarily live with his grandmother. I was already guessing EM was probably divorced. He was in the hospital and had to do some weird stuff with his bones, including getting stitches. Long story short, justice has been served and I feel a bit bad for BK as he's only young. And think about it, all this for a chocolate bar. What was the EM thinking? The logic of these people just confuses me so much, more like the absence of any logic. But guys, if you enjoyed this first story, don't worry, there are still plenty more to come, but could you please go down and hit that like button? Help me please that almighty YouTube algorithm. But guys, don't worry, I'm not gonna waste a single other second, and let's keep going with the video. No mom, you and your kids may not cut in front of me. So today, husband and I were feeling bored and adventurous and decided to make a pilgrimage to a posh coffee bar in our city. We've been meaning to go for months, but never got around to it. We pull in the lot and it's packed. 10:45 a.m. on a Sunday, so we expected it. As I'm getting out of the car, the mumby next to me is struggling to get 3 kids out of their seats, while her husband, I think, stood by the front of the car watching. Not helping. I hop out and excuse myself and walk into the cafe with husband. There's a huge line. 2 more people come in after us, then mumby and her horde. She immediately starts being a bee about the line. She complains loudly to her husband in first, but when he's clearly ignoring her, she decides to just complain to thin air. Why is the line always so long? God, why don't they have more staff? Why does every effing person have to come at the same damn time? She eventually asked the couple in front of her if she can go ahead because her kids are really, really hungry. Insert guilting sad face here. These saints begrudgingly say sure. So now they're directly behind me and my husband. She then says to me, "Excuse me, miss, may we have the spot before you in line? My children have been waiting a long time and are very hungry." With the nicest voice I could find, I said, "I'm sorry, Mom, we've been waiting a while too and we're also hungry. The line is moving faster now at least." I gave her a smile even though she was glaring at me. I turned back around only to hear her mutter, "Wow, what a bee. Can you believe some people? How rude." It took all of my effort not to react. Husband is a conflict avoider. I'm not. But I respect his wishes enough to not cause a scene in public when I'm with him. Eventually, she starts telling her husband how they're always out of the Mediterranean spinach breakfast sandwich she wants, and she better get it this time or she's gonna be mad. This is when I concoct a seriously evil plan. I check my watch, it's 10:55. A minute or 2 later, it's our turn. Husband orders his soy chai and I slowly order my vanilla nitro cold brew. With cream? No, not cream. Sorry, with soy. And an extra pump of vanilla. Barista rings up and as I check my watch, it's 10:58. I ask to add a Mediterranean spinach breakfast sandwich to the order. She says sure, no problem. Gives us the total. I'm digging in my purse for my wallet. Darn, just can't seem to find it. More digging, oh, there it is. Finally. Hand her the card, wait for the receipt, and slowly sign. Pack purse back up, say thank you, and walk slowly. Husband says, "You're hungry? We ate breakfast an hour ago." "Oh no, I'm not hungry. Just had to do this." "Do what?" I nod towards Mumby. Husband looks over. She orders her coffee and some juice things for the kids. Doesn't even ask if her husband wants anything. Then it happens. "And 1 Mediterranean spinach breakfast sandwich." "Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. We stopped serving breakfast at 11. We have all our lunch options today, though." Mumby looks at her watch and yells, "What? Are you kidding me? It's 11:02! "I'm sorry, ma'am. Company policy is to stop serving breakfast at 11. Is there anything else I can do for you?" "Get me your manager. This is ridiculous. You just sold one a moment ago. This is absurd." The manager came over, explained the situation, apologized, but refused to give that bee a sandwich. Bless her heart. The Mumby retracts her entire order and stomps out, red-faced and yelling to her car. My husband was trying to hold back his laughter. Our order came up, we grabbed it and went back to the car. I'm unwrapping the sandwich and take a bite exactly as I'm trying to scoot round her, trying to strap her kids in again and say, "Oh, excuse me, Mom, just gonna sneak by you real quick." The Midwest. She's glaring at me. The worst death stare I've ever gotten. I get in the car and unwind the windows ever so slightly. It's hot today, right? I slowly unwrap the rest of the sandwich and take a few more bites, passing it to husband and back while she's screaming and struggling with her kids, getting no help from Daddict. As soon as she pulled away, we burst into laughter. Today was a good day. That's it, there's no doubt about it. Her husband wants a divorce. He's standing there questioning all of his life choices. How did he get fooled into getting married to this woman? How did they have kids together? And now he can't even leave without the burden of child support on him. Entitled Mum thinks my pizza isn't American enough. So a little background. My dad grew up in Sicily, the southern part of Italy, and my mum grew up in Naples, and I was born there. We moved to America when I was young. So a few nights ago, my parents were hosting a housewarming party. It was kind of fun, meeting the neighbors and stuff. My parents insisted on making all the food. I decided I would make up some pizza, margarita. I thought pizza would be a food most people would enjoy. I used my mother's recipe, so it was authentic. Enter EM and EK. They both looked like they weighed a collective ton. "Did you make the pizza?" She said pizza with such disgust. It sounded like it was made from sewer juice and rat poop. Yes, I did. It's my mother's recipe. I thought it would be another compliment. I was getting them all night. EK doesn't like it. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Maybe try those. I motioned to a plate of arancini, which I also made. He doesn't like that. I can see if I can fix you up something else. No, I want real pizza. That's as real as it gets, chuckling to break the tension. He wants real American pizza. Domino's or Pizza Hut? I'm sorry about that, but I don't think they're open now. It's around 1 a.m. If you had time to make that trash, I'm sorry, what? The least you could do was make a real pizza. And under her breath, you Italians stealing us American foods. I put on my fakest customer service smile. Gosh, I'm sorry to hear that, but there is nothing else I can do. We're wrapping the party up now. We're leaving. Was I supposed to be offended? EK proceeds to grab my Nintendo Switch and they walk out. I chase after them and tell them to give it back. We deserve this after that sorry excuse for a pizza. I grab the Switch from EK's hands and go back inside. All I wanted was for the night to be over. EM runs after me, but trips on the stairs. As she hits the ground, I hear a bunch of glass shatter. Turns out she was stealing my parents' alcohol. Expensive bottles of wine and whiskey all gone to waste. Both she and EK start running away. We just closed the door and she was never invited back. She often shows up when we have guests over and we just turn her away. And just for your information, she broke a bottle of Crystal Head vodka. That was the worst part. All the Italians, all of them, are crying right now hearing this story. Americans invented pizza, apparently. I mean, I might give it this that they reinvented the pizza. They were able to effectively make it into a fast food. But guys, could you tell me in the comments what makes a pizza American? I don't really get it. Alright guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this installment of r/EntitledParents. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel for Reddit videos 3 times every week. Videos come up every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on a whole bunch of different subreddits. Also, if you've got your own stories, make sure to share them down below. I absolutely love reading your comments and will reply to as many of you as I possibly can. But for now guys, that's it from me. I hope you all enjoyed, and all I want to do is see you all here next time. See you later, guys.